the 2026 quarterback NFL draft class into tiers, and Arch Manning is not in tier 1.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an offensive NFL draft analyst with Bleach Report. That's my guy, Cade Sanchez. He is the director of scouting with the Draft Network and coached the 2019 national champions with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our every day. Guys, we're talking about the 2026 summer scouting QB class. We're going to break them down into tiers. Tier 1s, those potential franchise guys, the guys you want to draft in the top 10 in round 1. Those tier 2 guys, starters, plus level starters potentially. And those tier 3 guys who are more developmental that you could get some stuff out of if you put them in the right situation. Keith, when you look at this class, we've gone through, I feel like 20 quarterbacks since last week.
We've done quite a few.
We did quite a few. When you look at the lump of quarterbacks, a lot of young guys that have draft eligibility, who is inside your tier 1 of 2026 potential quarterbacks?
Yeah, this was tough, DP, because it's potential, right? With some of these situations. So I'm gonna go with this, right? I'm gonna break it down by potential plus production, right? And I'm a big have to see you do it, right? And so I'm going to break it down like that. So my tier 1 guy is just 2 guys, Garrett Nussmeier and Cade Klubnik. And immediately people are going to say, wait, you have Arch Manning as your QB1 and you don't have him inside of your tier 1. And the answer is, I have a small sample size. I want a bigger sample size, right? If we're talking about franchise guys and going to the draft, I want to know what you can do. I want to know what you can't do, right?
Yeah.
And Garrett Nussmeier, at one point this past year, right, like he was on the docket to kind of be QB1 for a probably 4 to 5 week stretch until all of media jinxed them when they called him QB1, and then everything went downhill from there. But I look at that, DP, and so I see Garrett Nussmeier. And then I put Cade Klubnik in there. And Cade kind of had his ups and downs, but I think he's found a solid spot to land as a college quarterback. And like I talked about, I think the OC has found a solid spot of working with him. And I think when you combine the dual threat ability as far as his legs, that this is a supreme athlete, plus there's enough arm talent there to where he can throw all over the field. There's a clear direction, a clear path for him to be a franchise quarterback also. So I'm going to go with those 2 guys as my tier 1, and I'm leaving off with some big names, but it's just simply off of proven production and feeling comfortable with taking you on that same level with top quarterbacks in the past.
No, and when I didn't hear Arch's name, I was like, wait, and then, but I was kind of like, I was thinking as you were getting ready to start your synopsis on why, I was putting it together. I said, it's the sample size, that's why he's not in tier 1 for me either, because of the sample size. Even though when I did my similar to you, I did my top 10 quarterbacks or whatever over at Bleach Report, he was number 2. But it is a sample size, and I put that in my synopsis over there.
I'm just torn, DP, because that Mississippi State game was some of the best quarterback play we've seen, right? But the issue is that, oh man, what was the quarterback last year? And this happens every year. It happened, Will Levis, right? People got a couple games, but he had a much bigger sample size even going to the year that he was drafted. The quarterback I was thinking about, Connor Wakeman. Remember, Connor Wakeman had the one good game when Texas A&M played Miami, and we was like, hey, that guy, I think he was in the first round of some mocks, right? And then nothing materialized from there. Do I expect that to happen with Arch Manning? No, not at all. No, he had one of the best games on film. I expect him to play good football, but I just want to see it. So to be honest with you, projection wise, I seen what I seen and I liked it a lot and think he could be QB1, right? And I would rate it, but it's just tough putting them in those tiers if we're talking about at this very moment.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Keith. I think for me, in my tier 1, I have 3 guys. I have Fernando Mendoza, who I told you is one of my top 3 quarterbacks. I love his game. like I said, the production, you want to see that take a next step. And I think going to a better situation, better O-line, better weapons, playing in Indiana compared to playing at Cal, will definitely up. We'll see a uptick in the productivity standpoint, especially watching what Curtis Rourke was able to do with what they had over there in Indiana. I think Fernando Mendoza is just not even a step above. I think he's a couple steps ahead of what Curtis Rourke was as a quarterback. But I also have Garrett Nussmeier as one of my tier 1 guys, and I have Drew Allar. And for me, it's just looking at, you got 2 really good like pocket passers who anticipate well, and then you got the guy who has it all. Like all the physical ability, things of that nature. Again, we talked about Drew Allar. I appreciate them going to get some young weapons or some guys that can play at the receiver spot and not have to do with all the stuff they did with Tyler Warren this year, because Tyler Warren is no longer there. You got to get the ball to somebody else, and it has to be at the wide receiver spot. But I think, just watching him, again, I expect him to take a step this year and becoming a better quarterback. And all his issues are more so coachable, things you could emphasize. Hey, get your feet involved. Step into your throws. I don't want you to muscle everything. I know you got the elite arm. I know you can rip it. I get that. Listen, Josh Allen had the same problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just those big arm guys, it's arm arrogance. And I mean, hey, I can't talk it out of you. Like, you got it, right? It ain't tricking if you got it, Keith. You got it, right? But at the same time, you got to be able to play from top to bottom in the NFL to really maximize that full skill set. Garrett Nussmeier, the accuracy, the anticipation, throws on tape, things of that, the layering of the football. It's NFL worthy stuff. Now it's just, hey, handling pressure better. Don't turn the ball over. Don't put it in harm's way. And like I said, with Mendoza, man, this might be one of my favorite quarterbacks in this class. And I'm really hoping that he has a big season and really showcases his full skill set, because he's one of the best pocket passers in this class, and he's still above average as an athlete to be able to make some plays, 3 or 4 plays a game on 3rd down, 3rd and 5. He can use his legs and get out of trouble. I think he can do that as well at the next level. Plus, the arm is good. Yeah, prototypical size. So those are my 3: Fernando Mendoza, Garrett Nussmeier, and Drew Allar are my 3 tier 1 guys I think could be potential franchise quarterbacks.
DP, how do you feel about the decision making with Drew Allar? Because I'm gonna just spoil it. He's gonna come in my tier 2 bucket.
Yeah.
What are you projecting from that perspective, or is it based off of physical tools? Right, like what was kind of your parameters that you kind of put in place?
Of course, you know me. I'm a big what can't I teach you type thing.
Yeah.
Being 6'4", 6'5", rocket arm, mobile guy, prototypical build and frame. He's accurate in the deep portion. He's kind of like accuracy isn't like it's better than people really expect it to be. The decision making is going to be the big thing for him, and it starts with just trusting what you see, like being on time. Like at times, he comes back to that backside 2 or 3 in the progression, and it's like I'm fired in there. And again, it's that gunslinger mentality. I'd rather have a guy that is aggressive that I can then, hey, let's take those calculated risks. That is not a calculated risk. To throw against Notre Dame, I think he had 2 interceptions that game. That backside dig where I think he ended up getting hit on that throw as well. Like getting through his progressions a little bit quicker is going to be the main thing. Decision making, I think all that like just kind of comes together where it's like, all right, it compounds. If you're a little slow in your reads and then you're late and you still try to force it in there because you're like, you know what, that's the guy that the ball's supposed to go to, then it compounds the mistakes. And I think does James Franklin and that coaching staff, the coaching staff that coach it out of him, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. It's coachable. He's got to really take onus and look at the film himself and say, okay, where did I mess up? And the coach's got to tell him, hey, this is wrong. This is wrong. So he can also have that building point. I think he can improve. It's going to be a dual effort. Coaches putting the emphasis on it, and then him studying and seeing, having the self-awareness to know, okay, I was wrong in this situation and I need to get better.
Yep. Let's do this, DP. We knocked out tier 1. Let's go to tier 2 because I feel like tier 2 is gonna have a lot of intriguing names and should be a really good conversation. Tier 2, I already spoiled one guy. I have Drew Allar into tier 2. Let's see the rest of those guys on our list in tier 2 quarterbacks coming up next.
The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. And to win big, you got to curate your bets around trends. And SGA is the best trending player in the NBA playoffs. Not only him, but also check out his teammate Jalen Williams with the OKC Thunder. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Keith, you said you had Drew Allar already in your tier 2. Who else found themselves as a tier 2 quarterback? Those plus-level starters that projected. Everything we're talking about is just projection, guys. Those projected plus-level starters at the next level from the potential 2026 NFL draft.
Yep. And like I said, based off proven production, right? And we kind of talked about this. I kind of gave away 2 of my names, if I think about it. So go Arch Manning, right? Mm-hmm. Drew Allar, LaNorris Sellers. And then this was a fringe one for me. I was stuck on this one, the Nico Amayava. But I think I'm gonna end up dropping him into tier 3. And I like the high level physical tools. But the offense, I need to see him in it completely. Like, I feel like I almost didn't watch him play college football, right? All I know is that he has a strong arm. So I'm gonna go with those 3 guys. I'm gonna go with Arch Manning, LaNorris Sellers, and Drew Allar. And in this bucket, I think the theme of this bucket is guys that have high level upside. I just need to see more of something. Mm-hmm. LaNorris Sellers and Drew Allar obviously played way more football than what Arch Manning, right? Yeah. But I just talked about Drew Allar and the decision making. I think you can say the same for LaNorris Sellers, right? There's decision-making things I want to see, and just what we had last year, the year before, and what we've seen, DP. And I don't know if you feel the same way, that some of these guys take massive leaps forward. Yeah. But there's almost a 70-75% chance that a lot of these guys kind of play the same, right? And I would take Cam Ward. I thought Cam Ward, and we talked about it, transferring could either be really good or really bad. Cam Ward's case, him leaving Washington State to come to Miami, wind up being a really good decision for him. And you've seen him take a step forward, right? Now with LaNorris Sellers, the conversation is, can he take that step forward? And I think about Jalen Milroe, how am I trying to say this? Didn't necessarily do everything that we wanted to see based off of last year's concerns transitioning to this year's concerns, right? Like, they wasn't completely eradicated, and there was a lot of stuff going on, and with the film and watching it, as far as just Bama's offense, but there was still some placed on Jalen's shoulder of things that we identified in summer scouting. Was like, hey, Adine pre-snap, post-snap looks, picking up blitzes, getting the ball out of your hands quickly when the first read's not there. What's your answer, right? Escaping vertical up the pocket instead of backwards, things like that. We didn't see him kind of eradicate and get rid of, but I want to see that from LaNorris Sellers also, right? Like, just really getting through your progressions, becoming high-level passer. Drew Allar, decision-making. Just please don't make the decision to where I just put my hand in my head and be like, oh, my God. Right? I don't want that to happen. Right. And you've seen with a guy like Will Levis, the decision-making trends, like he took that with him, right? We said that production, doesn't always carry with you. He took the trait of bad decision-making with him to the NFL. He packed his bags, and when he left Kentucky, he said, you know what? I'm taking this with me. And he put that in his suitcase. And the Tennessee Titans know it all too well.
No, that's why they drafted Cam Ward first overall. They knew they could not go back into 2025 with Will Levis as the presumed starter. Keith, I also have, I have LaNorris Sellers as one of my tier 2 guys. I have Cade Klubnik in my tier 2 as well. You know, and just kind of like you said with LaNorris, that's one of the things I wrote down, you know, with him or put into in my article, areas to improve this season, anticipating throwing lanes and trusting his arm. Like for me, like he's again a first year starter, young player, and it's very rare you see a guy that has the big arm because he's got a strong arm that doesn't trust it, right? Like we just talked about Drew Allar and the Josh Allens and those gunslingers that, you know what, I trust it too much that I'll put the ball in some compromising situations. Like Garrett Nussmeier got a little gunslinger to him too. Like even though he doesn't have that elite upper echelon arm, his arm is good. He's still a test windows that you like, Garrett, you're towing the line, buddy. You're towing the line. You know, like you putting it. That was a little risky. All right, we can't be doing that. But I think that's where I look at for LaNorris. I felt like at times as a young player, and I felt like it was kind of the situation. Like, all right, our offense isn't talent laden. They don't have a lot of talent. In terms of like you look at some of these the Ohio States and the Oregons and South Carolina doesn't have that type of recruiting right now. They're trying to build towards that. LaNorris Sellers and Nick Harbor and Dylan Stewart and all those like the young pieces they have, their success is going to help them be able to recruit like that. And if they can have success in the SEC, I felt like he was trying to play game manager at times as a passer where he didn't rip some of those throws. He didn't anticipate that window, but also in the pocket, I want to see LaNorris Sellers get better with those 5 and 7 step drops. You see him get to the top of his drop and then he sits and then he throws from the top. Like, no, get to the 5-7 step drop, bounce, climb the pocket, and then rip the throw. Don't just sit back there because you're deep in the pocket. You're going to out leverage your tackles because there's a 5-7 step drop. I want to see him navigate the pocket, move, showcase more of the pocket, not just the pocket mobility because you're scrambling, pocket mobility as a passer. Just move and slide and shuffle, reset your feet, get your feet underneath you, and drive these throws because we know, like I said, after the first 4 to 5 weeks, he started playing much better ball for South Carolina as a passer, and we already know what he could do as a runner. Now those are the passing things I want to see him take a step forward with. And with Cade Klubnik, Keith, like, I'm all for it. Like you put him in your tier 1. I think for those who have not watched Cade, if they don't, who hear you say, man, he could be a tier 1, and they just kind of toot their nose up to it, I wouldn't do that because Cade is good. Cade is good, man. Dual threat, straight line runner. You know what I mean? He improved his anticipation last year. Like it got better, but I want to see it go another step further. Like I tweeted out, not tweeted, but I posted a clip on Blue Sky. It was against Wake Forest. They had an out route against cover 3, and the ball was out of his hands before the receiver broke to the out on the out breaking route. And I was like, that's perfect anticipation. That's what I want to see from you. Just drop back, throw it. But again, for him, his anticipation is going to be how he improves anticipation this year. It's all going to be basically tied to how does he handle pre-snap picture changes. Like I always say this with him, if you can show him cover 2 man and drop off in the cover 4, you can confuse Cade because he's expecting. Like it's almost like that person who's a little naive that just believes what they want to believe. Like, you're a good person. It was like, I'm really not a good person at all. Like that's what the defense is telling him. Like, yeah, we're going to show you what you need to see, Cade. Then post snap is like, yeah, this is cover 3, bud. And it was like, yeah, I thought this was cover 2. You know what I mean? Like now you're throwing the ball into the area with that buzzing, strong safety working down as the robber, as the lurker, right? Like if he gets to the point where the game is slowed down so much where he can, because he makes checks and calls at the line of scrimmage. He does that stuff. But I want to see him take that next step post snap. Or also, like I give Cam Moore so much love for this. I want to see more college quarterbacks do it. It's the Aaron Rodgers effect. At the line of scrimmage, give you that fake snap count, force you to start doing, okay, I see exactly what you're in now. Now you done showed me your hand. That disguise is no longer a disguise, and now I can beat you post snap. I think Cade just needs to get a little bit better post snap in that regard, Keith. And I think I had one more guy. Yeah, I had one more guy in my tier 2. And Keith, I think it was it? Yeah, it was absolutely Arch Manning. Like Arch Manning.
I was about to ask you about him.
Yeah, it was Arch.
Fell to
I almost forgot.
3.
No. Arch is in tier 2. Definitely want to see like we both said, we want to see that full season what does he look like when teams are game planning for him week in, week out? You're not the reserve pitcher no more. You're the guy that hey, we got to keep Arch in the pocket. Don't let him break contain. Like, we got to get him off his spot. Different things. Like, how do you handle that to be able to counter the chess match, the game within the game? I think 2025 is going to be. And I put that he's number 2 on my list on my article, but I put it. My tagline was simple: most anticipated player to watch in 2025. I don't think anybody has more eyes on him in 2025 than Arch Manning. Even though most of us believe that he's not coming out in 2026.
So, DP, what's going to be interesting too is that he's going to have almost a whole new offense. When you talk about Jaden Blue getting drafted, you're talking about Campbell, you're talking about their other tackle, you're talking about their center. I think Jake Majors got drafted.
He did.
Wide receivers, you lost both. Bond and Matthew Golden. Tight end, you lost Gunnar Helm. Like, he has a whole new offense. So it would be interesting to see what it looks like, right? Because he's going to be probably running with some young guys and running with some transfers. So it'll be interesting to see the timing part of that. But DP, what it's time to do? It's time to talk about those tier 3 quarterbacks. And we said this is a deep and talented class. To be completely honest, I'm excited to talk about some of these guys, right? Like, there are a lot of good quarterbacks with upside that, who knows, we may get into late October and these guys jump from tier 3 to tier 1 based off of production and how they play. So stay tuned as we talk about tier 3s coming up next.
Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Tier 3 quarterbacks for the 2026 NFL Draft from our summer scouting series. And Keith, I go right to Baylor, man. Sawyer Robertson. Talked about him a couple of days ago. I like what we both like what he brought from on the film aspect of it. Has good athleticism. Good arm talent and arm strength, rip throws. He's accurate, throws it in layers, balls with good touch. And I think for him, it's the decision making I'm looking forward to seeing improve with him, especially under pressure, and just finding himself to being on time more. I feel like he's a little bit at times a little tick behind the progression, and I want to see him just all right. The first read is covered, cool. I'll get to the second read. Like I would go back to Tua when Tua came out, called him the sprinkler. It was tick, 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 just like a sprinkler. I want to see that from some of these young quarterbacks, because the quicker you progress and process information, the better you will be in terms of getting the ball out, being accurate, making the right decisions. And I think that's going to be a big thing for Sawyer Robertson. I have Taylor Green. Keith, I said on when we did the summer scouting with the first episode and talked about him, he could be Vince Young. Like, he could be that Vince Young type of quarterback, man. 6'6", 200+ pounds, big arm. He layers passes, but he's an outstanding electric runner. And I think you said that he's probably, outside of Jayden Daniels, he's probably the best runner we've seen since Lamar Jackson in terms of just running ability, elusiveness in open field. So him, John Mateer from Washington State that transferred to Oklahoma. This is probably the guy I'm most excited the most to see. The 6'1", 215-pound quarterback. I'm excited for him.
Just fun. Like, I'm excited to see it.
100%. Like, I want to see like OU just let him go out there and ball. And I would just watch him. He's a weapon. Like, and if he can cut down some of the turnover-worthy plays and things like that, and really to me, the big thing for Mateer, countering when teams must rush him. Because they're going to want to try and keep him from running because he's that good of a runner and he's got really good athleticism, straight line speed. When they start telling their guys, hey, slow rush him, keep him in the pocket, can you then counter that with just like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to just dot you up then. I'm going to just slice and dice you from the pocket. Then you can't be slow. Once the guy starts cooking you from the pocket, then you try to go ahead and get to him. Then you get out your rush lanes, and then John Mateer, the playmaker, comes out, and then Sam Levitt from Arizona State, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in college football. And in this draft cycle, Keith, potential draft cycle, I think this young man can open up a lot of eyes and take that next step. Him and Jordan Tyson, they're about to cook all 2025 together. Yeah, especially because Jordan Tyson wasn't able to be there for the CFP football game.
Yeah, in a wide open Big 12 too, right? Like
they're the reigning champions.
Yeah, they should be the overwhelming favorites. I'm gonna go ahead with my list, DP. If you're wrapped
Yeah.
up, if you wrapped up on your end. This was tough. So I'm gonna start off with Nico. I am lava. I'm gonna get that together by the time we get to September.
Maliava. Yeah, that's I think
I'm gonna put
it's a lot.
Nico. I'm gonna definitely put John Mateer in there for all the reasons you said. Exciting, electric. I just think he can turn. It's been a minute. It's been a couple years with Oklahoma, right? Since I think Caleb Williams left, that we feel like they had exciting quarterback play, right?
Yeah.
I think Caleb and Spencer both left at the same time, right? So it's
Let
been.
me ask you real quick, Keith. Does John Mateer remind you any of Johnny Manziel?
Yeah, I could get that too, right? Like I get, like that's why I said I brought up the Baker Mayfield thing, the Johnny Manziel, like the running around making plays.
Yeah.
I can get that part too. Like I'm not mad at.
I just hope he studies more than Johnny Manziel ever did. Just study the film.
He get after in the playbook. I'm gonna go with Taylor Green, right? Quarterback from Arkansas, we talked about. And then I'm gonna throw Carson Beck in there, DP. I'm gonna throw Carson Beck in there. Just because I don't want him to kind of be the forgotten guy, because 2 years ago we seen really good stuff, right? And that's why he had first round projection entering the season. We talked about it when we did the QB rankings of him. What I think it was 3 games with 3 interceptions, right? Yeah. Hopefully he figures that part out, right? And that's not a thing anymore. And hopefully Miami has him surrounded with some weapons, but I think he's probably going to be going through a situation where first is all new guys anyway. But Miami's probably going to have new starters, right? When you talk about Xavier Restrepo,
they lost all their receivers: Restrepo, Jacoby, and Sam Brown,
Elijah Arroyo, right? Like so, yeah, they literally lost all of their top playmakers. So, we'll be interested to see that with Carson Beck, and don't want to throw him away, because when we watched it, the arm talent was good, right? Like, was it great and overpowering? No, but it's good. Like, if he'd have had a consistent season, he probably would have been more of a tier 2 quarterback. But I wanted to put Carson back in there. Then Nico, real quick. Nico is tier 3 for me, but obviously there's opportunities to make leaps and bounds and jumps ahead just because the arm talent is so evident, right? And what he can do. And I think that like he's going to be somebody we have to pay attention to. And then UCLA playing in the Big Ten, it's tougher, but there's also opportunities for you to go against some of these top teams, right? Like if you play a Michigan, you play Ohio State, you play a Wisconsin, right? Like just things like that. You have some primetime situations to where not only are you playing against good teams, but it's going to count more because everybody's watching, right? Like you have opportunity to put together a really good resume, and I'm excited to see what Nico does. And honorable mention. And this is just because of the situation. I'm interested to see what Miller Moss looks like in Louisville, because Louisville has kind of been an underrated QB factory. When you think about the Lamar Jackson, Teddy Bridgewater, and
Tyler Shuck,
that's 3 first-round quarterbacks. That's 3 first-round quarterbacks in like the past decade, kind of.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how they're able to use him, and I feel like we're missing a quarterback that went in like the 3rd round. Huh?
We might be.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing a quarterback also. So I'm gonna go Miller Moss as an honorable mention, because what we seen in the LSU game where he was ripping stuff up, it has to still be there, right? And I question, and we get to college football rankings and predictions. I don't know what USC is going to do this year, because there's a lot going on as far as them losing wide receivers. They lost their wide receiver to Georgia, the explosive playmaker Branch, and then they lost another wide receiver with a big kind of tight end hybrid power slot. I think Deuce Robinson.
They lost 3 receivers because I think it's last name Hudson. He went to Penn State.
Oh yeah. Yep.
They lost like 3 or 4 playmakers on that offense.
So it's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot. But DP, I thought that was fun, man. I thought that was fun going through the tiers of quarterbacks. And this is early, okay? So y'all gonna have to revisit us early September, or maybe early October, as we re-rank these guys and go through it. But this is going to be a lot of fun. This is a fun quarterback class with DP. That wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On tomorrow's show, we're going to dive into the 2025 rookie class. We're going to give our early summer predictions for offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and we're going to talk about year 2 players that could take a leap and break out in 2025. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.